Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the commodities update video. And today we will be looking at technical analysis for natural gas. And trader will take a UNG as well as oil, US dollar, gold, and silver. So looking at their support resistance levels as well as what's the most likely scenario price will be heading into later next week. And if you like the videos or learn anything, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And feel free to book the free 15-minute call as well. It's in the comments below. The link is in the calendar link. Just book a call, and if you guys need any help on tradings and may work something out or have a mentorship. All right, let's get started. So we're looking at natural gas on the 1 hour time frame. Actually, let's go to the daily first. So the daily time frame, we were looking at this potentially being the bottom here on Tuesday, but turns out it wasn't. So we're looking at this double bottom last week over here. And it was starting to flatten out a little bit here, consolidate. And then we broke below that low on Sunday overnight, last Sunday. And on Monday, we gapped down. And essentially, this was a bear break of this double bottom and with no follow through. And we just pretty much bounced from there. And we got the news afterwards, after hours, and that made the spike. The problem is, after the spike, we had to hold the 4-hour EMA 12 on the back test in order to confirm a trend for me. So this is a big bounce. And then we came back below here, although we did break here and bounced. And we didn't hold the EMA 12, so we just rolled over. So that was a red flag for me. I mentioned on Thursday that I got in close to around this level. And I said that if we break this low, I'm out. So I stopped out essentially after it broke this low when we bounced here and closed decently. If we broke here, I would have held it, but we rejected from there and I got stopped out for a small loss after it broke this candle's low. Because that meant it was a 4-hour downtrend, confirming again back below the 4-hour EMA 12, which is this teal looking line. You can see we have been trading below this 12 EMA for many rejections. Every time we touch it is a rejection. So when we get over it, back test it, ideally as a bull, you want to see it hold and bounce from there. And we didn't. So we came below it again. And now we're confirming a 4-hour downtrend continuing. So that is not a good sign. So I stopped out. And that was my one attempt to try to nail the bottom, which is tough for any kind of assets, trying to nail bottoms and tops. If I were to give it a try again, I would probably look for this red line here, closer to 1.47 if we just flush all the way down to here. And if we break that, I'm looking at the black line to potentially catch, give it another shot. But anything before that, I am worried. We might bounce a little bit here on this double bottom here if we come down to 1.52. So we'll see about that. Or we gap up on Monday and it was a fake drop, and we bounce back above this black looking support, which is very lacking because all we have is here, this little support range here. So we'll see. So the two scenarios, if we gap up back above here Monday and break above this downtrending resistance, you can see this black line here. We go all the way back to, use both charts. I use adjusted and unadjusted. Both charts have different resistance levels, but I look at both. So with the unadjusted off, you can see rejection, 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 and rejection, and another rejection over here. So if we can break above that and break above the 4-hour EMA 12 out of the zone, then we may look for that equilibrium that I talked about on Thursday, where we move up, we move down, and tightens up, gets smaller and smaller, and then we may get a bull break from that. So we'll see if either we get an equilibrium if we break above this resistance, or we just head lower to potentially test lower lows. That's what I'm looking at. And you can see this red line is also support all the way back here. And then it's been acting as support just recently again. Here you can see support, support, and support. So if we do come down here, I am expecting a bounce. And this falling wedge is getting really tight. So we might break out of that very soon. So if we come all the way down here, make it a bounce, and reject from here again, we'll see about that and tightens up. And we'll have to see which way it ends up breaking. Ignore the noise in the background. That's just my robot vacuum cleaner doing its thing at the moment. yeah, so we will see how this falling wedge ends up playing out. It's been playing out for a very long time. You can see it's been within it. So we'll likely get a break out of that very soon. And I may take a trade if we, come down here. I may add here, try to nail the bottom and set a stop loss right below it. If I'm wrong, I get stopped out. Or I say we bounce around here, bull break out of here, then I may add here as well, or the bull break of the back test, and then add there for the next bounce. So we'll see. But as of now, we don't have enough price action yet. But as of this moment on Friday, this is a bear break below the support. So I'm looking down at this one now. Yeah. And then like this, where we rejected here once, right? This was where we could have broke if the bulls was real about taking this higher, and we rejected there again and then rolled over. So I stopped out right there. All right. Take a look at UNG. So UNG similar price action with natural gas. I also took that trade here because UNG was bouncing off of the 8-hour EMA 12, which was rejection, rejection, rejection. So when we're above it, I wanted to see this back test bounce, which we did. We got that bounce, so I got that bounce as well. But because we came all the way back below it, I stopped out there. So yeah, unfortunately, we did get that follow through from the bounce of the back test, and now we're looking probably back down to, if this goes all the way down to here to the red line, we're probably coming back. We're gonna break below this 14 level zone and probably end up around $14. If we end up hitting that red line on the nat gas. Let's see if we can get a trend line here just for a visual guide. Yeah, something like that. Do we have anything? Yeah, something like that. If we do hit that red line on nat gas, probably like it hitting around here as well on the $14 mark. Maybe something like that, but not as clear. So I would take this out. No point for this one. Yeah, so that's what I'm looking at, and we'll be following what natural gas will be doing, and we'll see if it can end up bouncing. So last hope for bulls is this level where we gap down on Sunday, and or we get that double bottom break without follow through and came back up. So we'll see if we can test that again, which is 1.57. That breaks, we're coming back down to 1.52. That breaks, we're coming down to this red line. There's a couple levels here too. So which means if that breaks, UNG is going to come down to all-time lows with 14.6. And if that breaks, we're coming down to 14. All right, let's take a look at oil. So oil is not doing much. So you can see that oil pretty much fake out here. I talked about this on Thursday where I was saying I didn't like how we bull braked above it, and that was all we got. This little tiny spike up, and then we didn't get break above these wicks. So, and then we end up pulling back. So that was because when you cluster around here for so long, and then you finally break above it, and you ended up forming an upper wick, that means it's a bull break, slight red flag, and without follow through. Obviously, the next day could have just went higher, but after we got this candle, we knew this was a little bit of a red flag where it didn't get much follow through from that break. But the thing is, not game over for bulls yet because you can see the overall trend is still currently up, and as long as bulls hold above 71.49 or 71.5 range, they're still okay. So we'll see. But if we start to make a bigger move down, then now bears will have room to confirm downtrends. So as of now, not yet. No huge red flags yet, but first red flag is that we got a bull break lacking follow through. So we'll see if more ends up shaping up here for oil. And just US dollar. And my US dollar just disappeared on me. Let's see. I'll just type it out. All right, so on Thursday we had a break and bounce. And now we're just sideways down Friday. Okay, so not much more to update on the dollar from Thursday, but we're still in a decent trend. What I'm looking at is see if the head and shoulder is going to end up forming here. So this is the left shoulder, this is the head, and I want to see if this left shoulder ends up forming. It's not a perfect looking head and shoulders, obviously, but the psychology behind head and shoulders is an uptrend into a downtrend. So it's pretty much an uptrend, and then when the head forms, which is a big enough drop for potentially that right shoulder downtrend to confirm. So we get a right shoulder like this, then we break below this low. That's a downtrend confirm. So the psychology behind that, uptrend into a downtrend. So we'll see if that ends up shaping up for the dollar. And we're also looking for a higher time frame. You can see on the weekly, more of a potential like a weekly lower high, meaning it's going to be lower than this high. So we'll see if that happens. Yeah, there's a big one here, kind of like a head and shoulders here as well. Monthly charts. Yeah, potentially a monthly higher, lower high as well, lower than this high. Let's see here. It's getting a bit close to that resistance. But yeah, so we might be looking out for that bigger term time frame, lower highs, meaning this may potentially be the top for on the daily chart for the dollar if we end up shaping up that head and shoulders look and roll over. All right, let's take a look at gold. So gold here, decent bounce, still testing that black line that we talked about all this week. You see these triple wicks, and we finally got one where we're right under it. So we are in striking distance to break above it. And let's see if we get over that. You can see this black line here. Support, 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 support. Broke below it, so now we're acting as resistance. The floor became the ceiling for now. You can see resistance, 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 resistance 4 times. And on Friday, we are under it as well. We slightly broke above it, but we end up closing below it. Still a good sign for bulls because after big move up, we broke below prior low, and then bulls bought a dip. So that's a good sign. You can see this wick was below the Thursday's low. That means bulls bought the dip after breaking it below still. So a very good sign. We may likely come up test this 2043. If we break above that, I'm looking at 2056 around this range here. All right, let's take a look at silver. Silver finally waking up a little bit after pulling back 4 days. It's been a bit weaker after this 3 days of relative strength. Then it had relative weakness. Now it's finally waking up a little bit. So we'll see. This is still a straight move down. I need the next candle to break above the prior candle for this to confirm that this is the pivot being set. Once this pivot being set, I want to see it break above the prior high. That'll confirm a daily uptrend. We can break above 23.37. That'll be a good sign for the bulls because it's a strong level of resistance. Resistance, triple resistance, another resistance, more resistance. Goes all the way back. What's support when price is above it? Million times support over here. So now we're below it. It's going to act as strong resistance. Yeah, so if we break above that, it'll confirm a daily uptrend. At the same time, breaking above a strong level of resistance will likely get a pop into potentially 23.8. And we want to see the dollar pull back as well when this happens. So they'll give the metals a little bit more fuel. Because the last thing the metals want is a strong dollar. So the weaker the dollar is, the better for metal commodities head higher. All right, that's all for you guys. Have a good rest of you guys' weekend, and I will see you guys next week. And make sure to check out the free call, and I will see you guys next week.